Beautiful Julia Turner. Thank you so much. I mean, wow. I am in awe over how the right people are coming together, contributing. That's why I said the last time if you promote channels that, yeah, I mean, this is the, I'm in awe. Thank you for sending me this handwritten transcript of some of Janie's comments that I want to get to right now. She says, "Believe me, it's my four-wheeler, and believe me, I don't let just Daniel drive my four-wheeler. I don't let just Daniel drive my four-wheeler. That tells us she lets him drive the four-wheeler, but not only him. Believe me, and yes, he is telling the truth." Yeah, right. First of all, she says, "Believe me," 3 times. I don't believe anything you say. And he is not telling the truth. And you're trying to make it sound like Daniel never drove the ATV. And you say it so many times. And you introduce that without there even being curiosity. The same way you introduced that neighbor to us and what he all did to you, supposedly, how he broke into you cannot tell us what he took, allegedly, anything to discredit him. These people are telling us ahead of time what we need to pay attention to. There's avoidance, but there is also introducing a subject matter where there is no reason to do it because it's on their mind so much. Janie is just as chaotic as Daniel, and his father seems to be the same way. These people make no sense. So never ask yourself, why are they doing this? They are what they are, man. You know, I mean, would you forget to file your taxes when you already get free money from the government? These are chaotic people, guys. And so she tells us exactly what area we need to look at. It's the opposite of avoidance, it's the overstating of um, unnecessary information. But there's no such thing as unnecessary information. There's information that seems unnecessary, but in reality, it is crucial. Whatever they tell themselves I cannot talk about, that's on their minds, and it's killing her. She needs to preemptively lie because she's afraid of it coming up. To tell you the truth, if I was in his place, I'd be so confused. To tell you the truth, I've told you guys before, when somebody says honestly, to tell you the truth, it indicates that either the person is lying right now or the person has been deceptive before to you, in that case to the audience, as in I lie quite a bit, but this time I'm actually honest. So these are the two options when somebody uses this term. To tell you the truth, if I was in his place, I'd be so confused. All of you are confused, all you people. Can I clear something up about the four-wheeler? Justin and I were the ones driving on the four-wheeler. Okay, again, Daniel didn't use the four-wheeler, right? But we picked Daniel up around the pipeline. Isn't that interesting about the pipeline? Is this from experiential memory? What happened that night on the pipeline that caused a boot print to be there? This is exactly the area I'm referring to. Justin and I went up around the pipeline and we're going through an old road and we seen Daniel, and Daniel got on the bike and he sat on front of the bike until we get back to the pipeline. And there's present tense here. So this indicates scripting, guys. This indicates some hardcore scripting. She's switching back and forth between some experiential memory, which I believe of what happened that night when they gotten rid of Jack and Lily, alongside a script, a fabrication of what took place supposedly on Friday morning. So Daniel got on the bike. Okay, she calls the ATV the bike, I guess, right? So wait a minute. What do you mean he sat on front? On front? He sat in front of Justin, who was driving it? Or were you driving it? Justin was driving, so he was like a little baby in Justin's arms while Justin was driving. This woman cannot keep her story straight. We seen Daniel, and Daniel, twice she mentions Daniel. Daniel, the sensitive area is Daniel and the four-wheeler. I've said it before. I think Daniel used that four-wheeler that night to get rid of the bodies. And yes, Justin, I do believe that whatever you experienced and saw that night is heavy on your mind, dude. So maybe he will be the one to talk. Maybe he will feel the need to tell somebody. Maybe he will wind up telling somebody who then, talks about it. Maybe he'll be stressed out about something else and have a few drinks and then tell somebody, you have no idea what I've been through. You have no idea what I walked in on. You have no idea what I helped cover up. That's what I'm thinking. I think he's different than the rest. He seems different. Daniel, Janie, Logan are completely 100% cold. And so seems Earl. Like no feelings. Towards Jack and Lily especially. I don't believe I don't believe that Justin hated Jack and Lily. I don't believe that for a minute. I believe Belinda. And she said, no, those were real tears that he cried. And it was surprising, I think, to see him, out of all people, so moved. While the rest, Janie, no, you're not going to my trailer. This is my dog's property. And Daniel, you know, I was doing the culverts, I was doing the dirt roads, I was the best talk. Or the mathematics talk. That would be a great word, right? Mathematics with an E instead of an A. Allegedly, I think we established this part. But anyways, guys, and then you have Logan, who referred to Jack and Lily as animals. But not him. Not him, guys. He's different, man. And this is also, even when you have, and I've seen it a few times where you see families where everybody's chaotic, but there's always like this one good one, you know? And of course, it can be the opposite too, that you see families that got it all together and there's like, all of a sudden, there's like a Daniel in the mix, you know what I mean? So, anyhow, anywho, I appreciate that you guys keep on watching me. And I see that so many have these 3 or 4 hour lives. So I figure when I actually have something to say, I'm just gonna make videos. I don't care if I do too many, because trust me, when there's nothing to talk about, and a lot of people do these lives every single day on schedule, even when it's a slow day, and then they talk about who knows what. I like to keep it fact-based, and we dropped him off with some of his friends and Justin, and I took off back home. We dropped Daniel off with some of his friends and Justin, and I took off back. So is this experiential memory from the night before that maybe he gave some of the stuff from the shed to some of his friends? Could that be? Because I think they got rid of whatever was in that shed. Belinda said that shed was completely empty and everything else on the property was cluttered. You see, these people try too hard. They don't think ahead. And we dropped him off with some of his friends, yeah. But then again, what do you mean, some of his friends? Did Daniel hide in his friend's house or what? Instead of searching? I know he wasn't out there to search, he was out there to hide. So did Danny get tired of walking around pretending to search and say, "Can you take me to, you know, my mathematics friends?" So Daniel was on the bike, on sitting on the front of the bike. You see? So Daniel was on the bike. If you say, "I saw Mike on the bike," you would think he was riding it, driving it, right? She corrects it on sitting on the front of the bike. So the fact that she feels a need to correct this leads me to believe that this is a sensitivity right here. Daniel was on the bike. Daniel was driving the bike, the ATV. And she says, sitting on the front of the bike. Well, what the hell? Who sits in the front? Whoever's driving it. I mean, imagine if Justin is driving it and Daniel's sitting in front of Justin when Justin is driving. That makes. I used to do that with my daughter when she was 3 years old. Right? This is a grown man, but these people are that blatant. The whole family is the same way. They tell you the dumbest bullshit and think it'll stick somehow. So it was me, Justin, and Daniel on the bike, him sitting on the front of it. You stupid ass. Again, she says front of it. Sitting. She wants to make it sound again and again and again as if Daniel had never been riding this bike, this ATV, because he was the one doing all the culverts, the back roads, and everything, as he said that morning. But he didn't do it that morning to search everywhere, but he did it that particular night. And that came from experiential memory. And he was waist deep in water when he was getting rid of the kids. And no, I don't think it was a lake or river where he gotten rid of the bodies. I think it was the ocean. And when Malaya said the huge surf effort instead of search effort, that also was leakage, and it came from experiential memory of her having had that conversation with Daniel. Are you sure the bodies are not going to come to shore? No, there is a great surf or a great, the tide is high or whatever. The tide is high. There is serious leakage happening here. That's why I needed these statements, because I can't be bothered looking at all of them, because it's an overload with Janie. It's a statement overload. But Justin and I had the bike at all day. Again, Daniel couldn't have used it. This woman is so stupid. She's overdoing it. She is repeating the same lies so many times until even people who may be new to my channel and never even heard about statement analysis will go, wait a minute. What is she? I just don't believe her now. I don't know why she's lying. I don't know what this is about, but no, I don't believe this. And here she goes again. What's this damn shadow? Oh no, that's from the picture. Cool. Janie says, no, Daniel did not drive the ATV. I told you it was Justin and I that were out on the bike all day. We picked Daniel up yeah. Right, dude. Sure. Again, she's trying. So let's see this one. I went out and I did up the chickens. Oh yeah, 8:48, brother. Oh, again, didn't she? Wait a minute. I went back to bed. You went back to bed when? At night after raking? It wasn't long after that. I can't tell you how long. Uh-oh. When you tell us what you cannot do, what you didn't do, and what you wouldn't do, there's a good chance that you could, you should, but you don't want to. I laid there for a little while. You wouldn't feel the need to tell anybody, I don't know for how long. You would just stick with the facts and tell me, okay, so I went to bed and then I woke up and it was around whatever time it was, and try to be accurate. But she is doing the exact opposite. She is avoiding her experiential memory. She is filtering it out. I laid there for a little while playing on Facebook. I dozed off. I heard the dog bark. The kids were outside. And again she said, I heard the kids. And then after that I didn't hear nothing. Everything just went completely silent. I believe you. I heard the kids. The kids were outside. When? Not that morning. You're not saying that either. Everything just went completely silent. The difference that morning with Jack and Lily already being gone from the night before was a huge impact you don't forget. She heard the kids so many times, but all of a sudden they are gone after 2 years of her feeling irritated about hearing them all the time. All of a sudden, it's like a graveyard, as if they never existed. A complete change to her, right? Now, to you, it may not be a change. You may not be. Um, if you had lived there and heard Jack and Lily, you would say, yeah, these are kids playing. That's what kids do. But she hated hearing them so much. So the contrast is something that she memorized, remembered, hitting her. Then after that, after what? Look how she skips time as well. She keeps it general. The kids were outside. I heard the kids. Twice she mentions the kids, indicating the kids were outside, trying to convince us. And then after that, the next thing I knew, there is some serious time being skipped between the last time she heard the kids outside and I didn't hear nothing. Everything just went completely silent. And that silence often indicates death. A silence that is final, a final silence. And I don't know how long after that. Again, I don't know how long after that. Why do you feel the need to tell us that? Because somebody told you you're screwing up the timelines, or you're realizing you screwed up the timelines. And that's what you have been doing. That's what Sunny talks about all the time. And people notice it. And it's very obvious that you're messing with the timeline. So you want to keep it very vague because you know you're not bright enough to keep your story straight. And I don't know how long after that, again, the deniability. Don't ask me. Don't put me on the spot. Don't use this to reveal how much of a liar I am. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That is the message. That is the intention. To have deniability and be able to claim this she doesn't know. Very selective knowledge, right? But she knows for sure they were outside. But she didn't say that morning. She's being vague with the time because some of the memories are from way before that day. I don't know how long after that I heard Daniel yelling for the kids. I figured he was yelling at the kids to get inside, or Jack was letting my chickens out, which he usually does. Again, victim blaming. How bad Jack is. In her mind, she knows what happened to Jack. And she knows the role that her son played. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. And she is justifying it. My baby boy Daniel. If Jack had been a better child, that's what she's telling herself. And she wants you to participate in the hatred of Jack and Lily. Misery seems misery seeks company. And I believe Wade when he said there was a horrible energy on that property. And yes, Janie, the owner, she set the pace, and everything evolved around her. All the negativity, all the hatred towards people, which caused her to be a hermit. But you know what? You have these two awake children, these two very active, go lucky children. Not happy go lucky. She didn't say happy go lucky. Malaya didn't say that. She couldn't say happy go lucky because Malaya knew the kids didn't have reason, in her opinion, to be happy because she wasn't happy there. Again, she cannot stop talking bad about Jack because she is giving you reasons why, in her opinion, whatever Daniel did, you don't know the whole story. You don't know anything. You don't know how bad Jack was. So she will take more and more time to let you guys know just how bad, in her opinion, Jack was. He usually does. She says first, which he usually does. So that sounds like an everyday thing, right? He's always that bad. Okay, gotcha. He lets them out a few times. Then she says a few times. Yeah, maybe he let the chickens out a few times. He's a 4-year-old. When was the last time he did that? How long ago? But she tries to paint a picture here. That's what Jack does. That's who he is. He's a menace. But there needs to be some balance. When we lie too much, suddenly we correct ourselves or minimize it. Because there's such a contrast between the truth and what you're stating. And keeping your story straight is not always easy when the fabrication is too extreme. So I figured Daniel was getting mad at him for that. Right. What exactly does getting mad at him mean? Right? How did Daniel get mad at him? And holy crap, thank you, Julia. I did all around the house in the four-wheeler ATV. What do you mean, Daniel? What did you do all around the house in the four-wheeler ATV? I did as much as I could on the first day and the second day. Does that mean you drove the four-wheeler? Ah, got it, dude. Got it. Now watch this. And let's see again. I jumped in my vehicle. What vehicle? And why do you call it vehicle? Do you not want to be specific what the vehicle was? Wouldn't you say car? Or did you jump on something, such as the ATV, and surveyed every dirt road and culvert I could find, as I believe you did it that night? Jumped out of bed. Jump, jump, jump. And he's telling us the first day when the kids disappeared. No, when he disappeared them. Hole ripped in the back. I guess this is again about the staged presentation, in my opinion, of the blanket in the trash. Because he wanted to make it appear as if the blanket had been trashed a week before. Hole ripped in the bag, yes, but the blanket was not in the bag. And Logan said you opened, it was in the bin, and the bin was closed. The blanket was not in the bag, not in the old trash bag, it was right there. Yes, I believe you ripped the hole to make it look like you had just taken it out of the bag. That's why you felt the need to call police. Why did you feel the need to call them? Because they found the blanket that you lost on Lansdowne Road. And you didn't want people to know that you ripped the blanket apart that night and lost part of it. That was a staged scene, people. And that's why Logan was so deceptive when it came to the area of the blanket in the trash can. And he used his brother Justin to start filming when it was ready to be filmed and make it look like they had just discovered it, in my opinion. Yes, ATV was taken to the house. This is passive language. And it is passive language in order to avoid responsibility, to avoid telling us who took the ATV to the house. He didn't want to mention who took it, Daniel. Overload. This is Daniel Overload. All of them are like that. Logan, Janie, and Daniel, especially Janie and Daniel. They repeat a lie. When they repeat something again and again and again, it's a lie. That is their pattern. When they're telling you something that's complete BS, they repeat it because they think the more they repeat it, the more you're going to believe it. Sat on the front of ATV. Well, you just told us you did the whole house on the four-wheeler. In the four-wheeler, you're avoiding telling us you were on the four-wheeler. Vehicle. What vehicle? You see, the same types of inconsistencies like when he talks about clothing items. And who said that the two shirts that went missing were the ones that he supposedly used in his search that day? So why would Malaya steal the dirty clothes that you've been wearing all day? None of this makes sense. None of it makes sense. That's why he's toning things down now, because he realizes the more he talks, the more he helps us identify pretty much everything except which direction he went. Which part of the coast did he drive the ATV to get rid of the bodies of Jack and Lily? That's what I want to know. But again, if you're in Nova Scotia, any footage you have between 1 and 2 a.m., hold on to it, man. Maybe somebody got something. Who knows? Because people do make mistakes, especially chaotic people. They drop the blanket. Man, I sat on the ATV. Where does it say I drove it? Listen to this fool, man. Come on, Fulio. Look how important that is to him. And I guess he was in a live chat there. So yeah, I appreciate, no matter what the channel, if somebody, if he says something, please bring this my way. This is absolutely perfect. It doesn't matter. Yeah, the context is always good, but in this particular case, how many days were the kids sick? What did they have, Danny? Good question. Good question. Let me guess, they had black eyes. And you had a fear of the CPS. I searched both ways. No trails, just dirt roads. Yes, I believe at night, dirt roads were used for you to go and get rid of Jack and Lily. I do believe that, dude. Both ways. So maybe I'm looking back at the map now. You see, it is so important for him to tell you he never drove the ATV. Why wouldn't you drive it that morning? Why is it such a big deal? Because you did at night. When you picked up the ATV from Earl's house, both ways, which way did you go, Daniel? Did you first go near the pipeline and then take this road? Or you drove here and then turned towards the pipeline? Lost the blanket here, then made your way through there. Both ways, right? You searched, but which way did you go? Oh boy. I never drove it. Again and again and again. And when somebody says, never, be on alert. Not I didn't drive it. I never drove it. Really? You never drove the ATV? Not one time? I thought you didn't have a car. I thought your car wasn't running. Really? You never drove the ATV? Deception. Deception, people. When people use these terms, look deeper. When they repeat it again and again, this is sensitivity. PLAIDS, PLAIDS, priorities, leakage, avoidance, intentions, deception, and sensitivities. This is a huge sensitivity, because that's exactly how he gotten rid of Jack and Lily's bodies, with the ATV, which is why he tries to convince you that he never drove the ATV. So you don't figure out that night he used the ATV doing all of the dirt roads. Man, I sat on the ATV. Where does it say I drove it? Yeah, you sat on the front. Sat on the front of ATV. The same bullshit. You sat on the front of the ATV while who drove it? Huh? He said he didn't drive it. Yeah, you have these mouthpieces, man. You have these people who are then trying to censor others. You ever have this? You ever experience? I think, I hope I'm not wrong and don't miss an important context. But you see, you cannot say things for people. That was the problem with the Madeleine McCain case, where the supporters often claimed they said something that they didn't actually say, at least not in the wording. He didn't say he didn't drive it, he said he never drove it. There's a huge difference. If you say, I didn't drive it that day, I didn't drive it that night, yeah, that's better. I never, Did you unalive your wife? No, I would never do this. No, I never did. What? These are the types of answers that need to be flagged. And yeah, these people, man, you gotta skip these blind supporters. Especially when they try to censor the rest and tell others, no, leave him alone. He already told you he's not. Leave Daniel alone. Reminds me of this old stupid Leave Britney Alone video. That's the mentality, dude. Unfortunately, in the so called true crime community, these people don't really care about the case, or Jack and Lily, or about Sebastian. They just have nothing better to do. They feel the need to fill their empty lives with something else other than whatever they can come up with in their own. I got two staples now. My brother and mom were on. Oh, he got two staples. Remember, he didn't put up posters because he couldn't find a stapler. And then yeah, yeah. It would be funny if if it wasn't for two missing children. And what the hell is this? The timeline is. I talked. The timeline is. What happened was. We talked for 2 minutes, 59 seconds, and the kids after that. Gotcha, Janie. And I'm still confused if anybody can clear it up. What is this about the drone picture? Anyone know about the drone picture Janie was talking about in her interview? Does anyone have? Janie McKenzie claimed that a photo of Daniel Martell and Justin on an ATV was taken not by Malaya Brooks Murray. So are we talking about the picture that we have seen where Justin is on the ATV and Daniel standing next to him, or is there another one? Okay, I guess it was that picture and how relaxed his brother was and resting when they should have been searching. They were not searching. His boots, the soles of his boots were clean. But anyways, guys. Anyways, I'm going to end this for now. Didn't she look like a completely different person before? What happened to you, Janie? I'm Mike the Man, and I thank you for watching.